Alright, just got back from Zach's Outdoor Power, and I ended up getting a 32-inch bar for my saw. I just bought. It's like, you better hope it runs. So, like, yeah, you're right. I should have probably started it. The bar was $129, and the 32-inch chain was $72, so I spent about $200, over $200 with tax, $217, $18, but I figure it's worth it. I'll cut lots of wood with that bar and chain, and then I have a 24 backup. They didn't have a 28, but I was thinking, you know what, 32 is probably about perfect for that saw. I didn't want to go 36. I think 36 may be a little too big. Plus, you hardly ever, like, I hardly ever use a 36. Like 28, 32 is like that sweet spot. You can cut almost anything. You might have to go around it, but that's a pretty big tree if you're using 28 or 32. 36 is nice in a pinch. Like once or twice a year, you have that monster that you have to cut down, or you have to flush that monster stump. But we really don't do that much big tree work anymore. I try to stay away from it because it just ties you up for too many days. It's hard on the equipment. You got to bring in subs to haul everything away. I mean, by the time everything's said and done and the days involved, you make just as much, if not more, doing smaller jobs. So I tend to stay away from it, unless I know somebody that can't get it done, or a friend of a friend, or through the chamber, or just like the job we got done yesterday. Normally, it's like 5 removals with the crane. I mean, I can do it. I've done it many times, but I tend to get away from those jobs because, well, first of all, weather. We couldn't get the crane to the backyard because it was too wet. Couldn't get the bucket truck because it was too wet. So that delayed it a day. So we ended up doing the front tree, and then the crane charges every time it comes. So it was $500 for the front yard, $500 for the back. Even though it only took 2 hours, or less than 2 hours, it's still $500, $500. So there's $1,000, an extra $500 for what? Because of the weather, you know. Then you have a loader fee, $500, $500. There's $2,000. So you got $2,000 out. You haven't even made any money yet. You haven't even paid yourself. Haven't paid your help. That's just for subs. And then you got we got called back. We did the first tree in the front yard, and then we did the 2 or 3 trees in the, actually it's 3 days, because I went the first day, took out as much as I could with my bucket truck and tried to thin it out, so when the crane came it was in and out. So we were there 3 days, and then the sub went back to pick up the logs, and then Joey went back to clean up the mess because they didn't really do a really good job thorough raking. So I mean, it's basically a week a week job. So, you know, even if you're, I mean, the job should have been about $7,500. I gave him a deal like $5,500 because, you know, a friend of a friend, you know, he's in our group, so I took care of him. But you know, even if you get $7,500, you're there for a week. I can do 2 or 3 trim jobs and not have all the extra overhead, make the same money, and be home, you know, in and out really quickly, and not have to use a loader truck, not have to use a crane. So big jobs aren't always, you know, they sound like big. Oh man, $7,500 or $8,000, whatever. Time is said and done. Bottom line, how much you making per day? You're not making that much more. If not, you're making less. So don't be, unless you have a grapple saw or own your own crane, even then, you know, you got to pay for all that equipment. So, all right, I'm gonna stop the bank, and I will be back at the shop to cut up some big wood. I'll see you soon.